So here's the full story. A while back I got in touch with a company because I liked their products, and I basically wanted to see if we could do a sponsorship. So I sent them an email and we had this conversation about how I could promote their products and they could help fund this show. So it was all going well, and then literally 2 days later I got another email saying, hey, we've seen your videos and we're wondering if you'd like to do a sponsorship. But the weird thing was, this was the same company. So at first I thought, okay, this is odd, but then I looked closely at the email and realised that this was just a different branch of the company, because they're big enough to have, different marketing people for each country. So I'd been speaking to the American side and this was the UK side, and they were oblivious of this sponsorship we'd already talked about. So I saw an opportunity and I basically pitched them the original idea, and they were up for it. They wanted to do the sponsorship, so I was in a position to have 2 different people paying me for the same sponsorship. So I was feeling pretty good about myself, that I had managed to kind of come up with this little trick that meant that this big company, I think I told a few people that this company's so big they don't even realise that they're paying me twice because of the different countries. And I think the way I justified it to myself was that because my channel obviously is seen worldwide, that they have the marketing for each country, so why shouldn't they pay in the UK when my videos will be seen in the UK, and then also pay separately for America where they'll also be seen there. So that's how I try and kind of made it okay in my mind, at least. But then I got an email, I think 2 weeks after I'd basically sealed the deal with both people. So I got this email and it said, do you know what, I've been talking to the our other branch, and they said that they've already got the same sponsorship deal worked out. And so what's going on there? We thought you would we thought you'd tell us about that kind of thing. So all of a sudden I'm realizing, like, oh crap, I've been found out, and now suddenly this doesn't seem like such a great idea anymore. I think it's often when you have a third party come in, that's when you realize whether something you did was right or not. So like, the only way that this little trick could work was if they stayed in the dark, So the truly honest thing to do would have been to say, when I got that second email, to say, great, yeah, I've already got a sponsorship with this other company, so you know what I'm going to do? I'd quite like you to both pay me for it, then I'll get twice as much money, happy days. But obviously I didn't say that. So by withholding that, by not telling them that, I was being dishonest. Obviously the truth comes out, and suddenly you do feel that feeling of like, this is embarrassing. So my first thoughts when this happened were, what I'm going to do? Is there any way that I can play this off as a mistake? Because it's embarrassing. Like, you don't want people to think that you were trying to take advantage of them. But basically there were no good excuses I could come up with. It was pretty clear what was going on. But also, this whole thing had happened because of not being honest. So it was, after that kind of realization, it was like, okay, we need to just be upfront here. So I sent an apology email saying, you know what, yeah, that was dishonest of me to do that, and sorry about that. And writing that email, it doesn't feel great. The whole time I was just thinking, I wish I'd just said this from the beginning, said that I already had the sponsorship. So in the end, they actually did. They took it very well, and they did say, you know, okay, fine, don't worry about it, but obviously in the future, you know, let's be more open. I suppose in some ways I'm glad that it happened, because it's a little moment to realise, like, that it's very easy to become selfish and to act selfishly. But the main reason I wanted to tell you about this is just because if I am going to put some of my life on the internet, I want to make sure that I'm not just putting the best bits, you know. I feel like it would not be right to just show, oh, here's some, you know, film project I'm working on, everything's great, when actually, like, of course, everyone makes mistakes, you know. So yeah, the conclusion to the story, if you like, was that I tried to get double payment, and of course didn't manage it. But all I had to show for it was, you know, basically embarrassing myself in front of at least 2 different employees. So that's the story about integrity, and yeah.